Hello, the Blue Beetle here, and we're going to continue our quest to find out how many inhales each Kirby game takes to beat. Last time we played the first 10 Kirby games and found out that those games have 65 inhales in total, with Kirby's Dreamland 1 requiring the most. You should totally watch that, by the way, if you haven't known. Oh, that was a bit ago. Sorry about that, really. But now we have these last 6 games, which we'll be doing this time. Which of them will be inhaleless, and will any of them beat Dreamland 1 in inhales? Before we begin, here are the rules. Any inhaling or any inhaling move a hypothetical gimmick might have is allowed. You'll see what I mean soon enough. If there's inhaling in a cutscene, it won't be held against us, neither will any object that can be obtained without inhaling. Oh yeah, glitches are allowed too. Alright, now let's stop wasting time and get started. We're beginning with the Kirby game that began an entirely new era for a pink puffball. It brings back a lot of what made Kirby Superstar fun to play, and amplifies it by 100. New abilities, more moves, even crazier bosses, and ability essences are here. But I'm sure you already knew that. So let's get started with 1-1. In these first few rooms, they're pretty simple and you can get past without inhaling, no problem. And at the end of the stage, you'll soon see a Super Blade Knight, which would normally give Ultra Sword. Here, I should start off by mentioning that super ability sections within stages don't require using the super abilities to be passed. This also means that you can ignore dimensional rifts, which is good because they take your ability away if you have one, and some of them require you to inhale at least once. And you might think, if you lose your ability before a mini-boss, it's not too much to worry about, right? I mean, look at these ability essences when you reach the end of 1-2. Well, you can rely on that for like the first 2 worlds, but then they'll appear less and less often before mini-bosses for the rest of the game. If you don't have an ability when you encounter them, you can either use multiplayer or even the occasional tomato box. Otherwise, you'll need to leave the stage and go to a stage with an essence since guarding doesn't do damage like in Superstar. One less common thing that you should remember is that there are some levels with these blocks below Kirby that can't be broken from sliding like in previous games. So they're basically the ability equivalent of speed bumps. From that point on, there won't be any more issues, and you'll reach Nutty Noon's boss before you know it. Grandoomer's first 2 phases are a piece of cake, nothing you can handle. However, that's when Grandoomer enters this next phase, where he can only be harmed by super abilities. That would be a problem that requires an inhale, but get ready to have your mind blown. You don't even have to inhale to get super abilities. Crazy, I know. This allows us to destroy Grandoomer and move on to Halcandra. Egg Engines is no problem, if you pay attention. It's no different for Dangerous Dinner either. After that, you have the Lore Starcutter fight in Magolor's phases. Phase 1 isn't bad even though you need to use super abilities, but when you're at the second phase, Magolor will take your super ability away and you'll be unable to kill him if you don't have another player. Don't worry though. Dying in this fight is an option, as the room you respawn in when you die has ability essences. Now that the final boss has been defeated, we can say that we've successfully beaten Kirby's Return to Dreamland with 0 inhales. I was honestly worried at first that we wouldn't be able to do this, but despite the many things that could have possibly posed a threat, we were easily able to find ways around them. This game doesn't normally require you to find any energy spheres either, other than the first one, which I believe also contributes to this being possible. Thank God this game allows us to skip the super ability sections. I hope this also applies for... oh wait. Kirby Triple Deluxe. It's a game, certainly. A game on the 3DS, even. It has a feel pretty identical to Kirby Return to Dreamland, but there are some differences. The most notable ones being the foreground and background layers, tilt gimmicks, and... you know. Fine Field's first stage is straightforward for the beginning. It's your average first stage. You won't find any abilities here though, not that it matters. The real issue is what you'll find in the middle of the stage, this beanstalk here. If you haven't caught on to what I'm so worried about, this game has a main gimmick like Return to Dreamland super abilities. The gimmick is an ability called Hypernova, which makes Kirby's sucking ability even more powerful. But unlike super abilities, you can't ignore them, so you'll have no choice but to use them, which is not the best for us. This stage alone requires 7 inhales. You'll need to inhale a tree, a chain ball, 2 stone blocks, and 3 blocks used to kill 3 moles. For the purple mole, you'll want to inhale his block on the top platform so that you can drop down and avoid the next block he'll throw at you. Then you just need to hit him fast enough. A lot of using Hypernova requires good timing, as you'll see. Next we have 1-2, your average cave level. It's like 1-1 except without the Hypernova beam, and there are ability essences allowing us to use abilities for the first time. This is good because we have a mini-boss, and if we lose our ability here and during any boss, we have to restart the stage since there's nothing else we can do. And because of this, we can beat this stage with 0 inhales. 1-3 is next, and unfortunately, it also has a Hypernova beam. The Hypernova section requires you to inhale 7 times in total to deal with a log critter, a stone block, 4 missile shooters, another stone block, and a curtain. From this point on, I'll just list everything that needs to be inhaled on the screen so I don't sound like a broken record. The only thing that stands out in our next stage, 1-4, is that there's a mini-boss without any ability essences before it, so if you made the mistake of not taking an ability with you, you'll need to go back to stage 2 or 3 and find one there. To save you all the time, I'm just going to let you know right now that every stage I skip doesn't have a Hypernova section and thus doesn't require any inhaling at all. Now, as you can see, this game requires a certain amount of sunstones, this game's main collectible, to be found. This won't be an issue for a while, as long as you try to find all the ones that you can. After killing Flowery Woods, you'll then reach the second world, Lollipop Land. It's crazy to me that the first world alone already has the second most required inhales so far. This will only get higher too. Hopefully this game doesn't require as many as Kirby's Dreamland. Luckily for us, World 2 only has 1 stage with Hypernova, 2-2. This cruel toy factory will force you to inhale 4 times to make it out alive. Just barely, might I add. Make sure that you have really high health because you'll need to get past the first few laser guys by the invincibility frames after being hit, and their lasers do a number on you. Old Odyssey has 2 stages with Hypernova. The first stage requires 5 inhales to beat, and 3-5 requires 7. Wild World only has 1 stage with Hypernova, and it's the Haunted Mansion level. What's interesting is that there are 4 doors and the game makes it look like there's a right one you have to choose. If you choose the right one, that'd be good since you wouldn't have to inhale the curtain to find the real door. So I pulled out my hacker goggles and used some save states to figure out if you could choose the right door without eating the curtains. Next is Endless Explosions. It has 2 Hypernova stages, and the first one is the second stage. The second stage requires 5 inhales to beat, and 5-4 requires 7. Make sure that you have good timing, because you'll need it for the drill machines. The second one especially has an insanely tight window to make it past these 2 lava falls with only 1 inhale. Moving on to Royal Road, there are 2 Hypernova stages here too. The first one is 6-3. The whole stage uses it too. And because of this, we have another 13 inhales to our name. There are a lot of inhales required, but they're all simple and straightforward, so no worries. Then we have 6-5, which only requires 2 inhales. I guess Kirby's so powerful he can just casually break the 4th wall. After that, all that remains is the boss. But you'll need to collect every sunstone you can in this world. This boss requires 7, which is convenient because there are exactly 7 that you can collect without inhaling. Sectonia and King DDD don't require inhaling to beat, nor does the cannon section. The final boss, however, has been holding a few more punches for us, with 4 inhales being required for the Flower Eye dudes and the Queen herself. Now that the game's over, you're probably wondering how many inhales we've needed this whole game. Well, 68. Not only does this game take first place for the most inhales yet, but it also more than doubles our total suck count, going from 65 to 133. Triple digits, baby! I'm surprised this game doesn't have as many glitches as I thought, but it probably wouldn't have helped us much anyways. Thanks for everything, Hypernova. I hope I literally never see you again. And to those of you who are wondering about extra stages, all of them except the second extra stage of World 6 can be beaten without inhaling. The second extra stage requires 20 inhales. Now we have what's arguably one of the best Kirby games in the series, Planet Robobot. An evil company roboticizes Dreamland and Planet Popstar as a whole, and Kirby needs to use his new Robobot mech armor to save the day. Yeah, instead of Hypernova, this game has this thing, and I think the game will go much better as a result. But let's see if I'm correct. Patch Plains is a piece of cake. Even though you'll encounter Clanky Woods here, that's not an issue as you just need to survive him until the auto-scroller ends. There are essences in the second stage for the Robobot mech fight, and there are no sections that require you to use an ability while operating the mech. Oh look, you get to use amiibos in 1-3. These actually make the game easier for us, because if you don't have an ability in a section you'll need them for, you can get an amiibo and it'll give you an ability. The next few stages aren't worth breaking a sweat over either, as they're inhale free. Code cubes are a thing too. Hopefully they don't cause a problem later down the road. After bosses, we reach Resolution Road, which has an easy first stage. Then for the second stage, we just need the jet sections. The jet sections! Those are also a thing in this game, and they force you to capture and inhale a Capsule J2 in order to move on. So we need one inhale. This won't even be the last time we need to use them. And we can't use Amiibo when we have the Robobot armor. The rest of the world doesn't require inhaling, and code cubes still aren't a concern. On to Overlord Ocean. Stage 1 is pretty cool. You can find the Smash Bros ability here. And the second stage has a wheel section. Those also happen. One inhale again. At least the rest of the worlds clear those heinous sections. Gigabyte Grounds and Rhythm Route aren't any better though. Gigabyte Grounds' third stage has a jet section, and Rhythm Route's fourth stage has a wheel section. Lastly, we have Axis Arc, which will give you a false sense of security until BAM! One more inhale. I didn't even remember this one was here. Lastly, we have Mind in the Program. This is a shooter section where you use a halberd to fight the final boss, but fortunately the Robobot armor inhaling the halberd is just a cutscene, so it doesn't count. Don't get too comfy though, as you're still able to capture and inhale debris to use it to make your bullets more powerful. All you have to do is not press the shooting button when you're near it, and you're good. Oh god, Stardream's countdown. If you haven't killed him after a certain amount of time, there's a fatal error screen that can deal some serious damage. You'll want to spam dodge and finish him off after it. Hopefully you've dealt enough damage to him that you're able to kill him after that. Ignore my accidental capture inhales, I swear you can still beat him without them. Then after some screw loosening, we finally beat the game. This game requires 5 inhales, making it have the 4th most required inhales yet, but it's not like this was a hard game to beat while minimizing our inhales either. And for the extra stages, the only one that requires an inhale is the second extra stage of Axis Arc, which requires one for a wheel section. Zero inhales. Shockingly, the remarkably easy game in an already easy series is also easy to beat inhaleless. I dare say it's the easiest game of them all. I know I gave you literally no build-up, but it's not like there's anything even remotely threatening in a run. And it's all thanks to 2 words. Friend Hearts. The main gimmick of this game allows you to turn enemies into friends without having to inhale. Not only that, but you can either control your helpers or turn enemies into grabbable ability hats if you already have a full squad. Since you're at virtually no risk of losing abilities, you can turn them into grabbable hats too. You'll have an easy time fighting bosses. The lack of required collectibles and the fact that team transformations aren't based on inhaling only makes things easier. You can even 100% this game, and it'd be the same as doing it normally. Extra stages are the same story too, not that they matter of course. Let's not forget Heroes in Another Dimension, which isn't required but I wanted to mention it anyways. That game mode is also inhale free, as even though the game is heavily based on using abilities and Dream Friends, they're given to you inhale free. I'm happy to see another inhaleless game. Hopefully the last 2 are the same. Now we have that one 3D Kirby game. You know, that small obscure one from 2022. Anyways, let's just hope that the extra Z-axis this game gives us can provide us more options if we face any problems. First off, we start at the point of arrival. Skipping the tutorial section and the beautiful scenery, we get to our first cutscene which introduces us to this game's gimmick. Mouthful mode. Another inhaling based gimmick. I already know where this is going. At least this is only a cutscene so we can skip it, and you'll have the car mouth inhale free, technically. We did get past unscathed, but we can't say the same for Downtown Grassland nor a trip to a Live Mall. Each requires an inhale, meaning we have 2 right now. I originally thought through the tunnel will require an inhale 2 for these stairs, but if the camera's high enough, you'll be able to fly and use fire to reach the cannon platform and then the end. Waddle Dees are also a required collectible, and you'll need more as you go through the worlds too. It's not an issue though, as you'll have more than enough Ds if you find all the ones you can. After annihilating the boss, we move on, but not before we go to the weapon shop where you can upgrade your abilities and make them stronger, but it's not free. There are dimensional rifts throughout world maps that can access challenge stages that you can use to collect rare stones, which you need alongside coins to upgrade abilities. You should only do the ability-based challenge stages though, since they can be done inhaleless. For the run, upgraded abilities don't save us from inhales, but they do make bosses easier to fight. Also, any ability that you collect in the game will be in the shop, so that you can collect it inhale free from that point on. The real game changer, however, is in the first stage of Everbay Coast, Abandoned Beach. You can inhale while swimming, so be careful, but we encounter Bonkers in the second room, and he gives us the best ability we could ask for, Hammer. Now, Hammer is a pretty powerful ability, but that's not what makes it so special. See, Hammer has a special glitch where if you hover until you get tired, do a hammer bounce, and hover again right after the bounce, this happens. I don't even know how the devs didn't notice, but trust me, we should not be complaining. We technically could have gotten this ability in the How Room of 1-3's Rocky Rollin' Road, but it wouldn't have helped us at that point. Abandoned Beach and Concrete Isles don't require any inhales, but Scale the Cement Summit introduces dreaded paraglider mouth sections. They are unskippable, so yeah. The rest of Everbay is fine though, and we move on to Wondria Remains. This is where Hammer truly shines. Hammer saves us from 3 sucks in Welcome to Wondria, and 2 sucks in the evasion at the House of Horrors, and as a result, this world can be done inhaleless. In the 4th world, Winter Horns is almost the same story. Hammer saves us from 1 suck in Northeast Frost Street and 1 in Windy Freezing Seas. But there is this one gate in the same stage that you just can't get past for some reason. The world ends with nothing special. You'll want to be collecting all the Wallabies you can at this point, since they're generally more out of the way from now on. Moving on to the next continent, we reach Original Wasteland. This place is a lot more harsh to say the least. Hammer doesn't work as your go-to ability except for the 4th stage. That's because you won't find enough Waddle Dees to unlock the boss if you're only using that. For the waste where life began, you'll want to bring Ranger to get the Waddle Dee for shooting the 3 targets in the first room and kill the lost Squishy Water Rabbit. There's also this purple sludge you'll want to avoid since it takes your ability on contact. You don't have to worry about abilities for searching the Oasis since the Pool Waddle Dee and this Waddle Dee up here don't need an ability to be collected. You'll want to bring Cutter for a live Mall staff side to kill Bonkers with Cutter and get the Waddle Dee after killing him, all while collecting 3 ice creams. By the way, there are 2 required inhales for the 2 cone mouths in this stage. In total, we only have 16 Waddle Dees so far, and we need 9 from the next stage to unlock the boss. But Hammer. Hammer absolutely carries in Moonlight Canyon. We can skip the wall at the beginning of the dark section, and Hammer jump to save so many Waddle Dees. I mean, look at this. You still need 1 inhale for the Mouth Glider section though. If you collect every Waddle Dee you can in this stage, you'll have gotten all but 1 of the Ds. As a result, we have 26 Waddle Dees, more than what's required. Silly Dillow's a tough foe, but nothing special as you can guess. Now for the last world, Redgar Forbidden Lands. The funny thing is, this world's a lot more lenient when it comes to Waddle Dee requirements. You should still collect all the Waddle Dees you can, but you'll definitely have more than what's needed. Hammer is also the star of the show again, using it to collect Waddle Dees and saving yourself from a lot of inhales. The only exception in this world is Conquer the Inferno Road, where you should probably bring Tornado so that you can skip the Ring Mouth section. Gathering of the Beast Council requires 1 inhale for a Coaster Mouth, and the Beast Pack's Final Stand requires 3 for a Storage, Glider, and Cone Mouth. After beating DDD to a pulp, we reach Lab Discoverer. In typical Kirby fashion, this is just a final boss world, and you only fight bosses here. Skip, 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 skip still. Oh hey, he looks pretty cool. Skip again. Here, we'll need to inhale once more to pop this nasty pimple on Elphilis's back. And ha! This is a cutscene so it doesn't count. I like the Rig Mouth. It looks funny. After doing the Rig Mouth section and the QuickTime events, we are basically done with the game now. This game had 12 inhales in total, making it have the second most of any game here. Here's your silver medal. I hope you're happy. Imagine how many more you would have had if it weren't for that meddling Hammer glitch. For isolated isles, can you beat it in Halos? No, it takes 8. 1 from Forgo Horns, 2 from Forgo Wasteland, and 5 from Forgo Zone. Could you at least get enough soul pieces to unlock the Morpho Night Flight without any more? No, I doubt it. I can only get 246 at most. You'd probably just need to inhale once more as a result though. Wow, that was a lot. But I will say that was probably the most fun game to do in Halos of them all. Just trying to strategize to do this properly while using the hammer glitch a lot was really fun to do. Like honestly, I'm happy I did this challenge. Anyways, let's just see how our last game goes. We've reached the latest Kirby game to date. Isn't it beautiful? This game does a really good job at remaking classic set pieces to make them look even better somehow. I want to say so much about this game, I really do. Yet it's only a remake, so there's not much that changes. Well actually, this game's easier than Return to Dreamland. A lot easier. That's mainly due to the fact that losing your ability isn't as easy as before, there are more ability essences, and best of all, souvenir items. These items include healing items, items that deal damage, and abilities. You can hold up to 30 of each, but you can use all your items in stages. You get them from collecting enough stamps in Merry Magoland, so playing minigames or finding Magoland tickets can actually help you out in the main game. Of course, this game's still easy even without the souvenir items. Yeah, it's 0. So, nice to know that we could finish off this whole thing with an Inhalus game, even if it was a bit anticlimactic. And now we've done every Kirby game in Halos. It was a long journey, but a fun and great one overall. The series takes a whopping 150 inhales in total to beat, with Kirby Triple Deluxe taking the most. Here they are, from most to least inhales. And here's how I would place them in terms of difficulty. Also, I would like to apologize for how long this took. School got in the way and stuff. I plan on making more challenge, or well-edited videos like this in the future, and if you like what you see, please show your support by subscribing and commenting below. Have a good day everyone, peace.